Three, three, two. Fuck. Wait. Why isn't? Shit. Hold on. Why isn't? Come on. Well, for everybody listening, Mr. Dr. Dale Comstock, American Badass. I don't even know what episode or volume this is now. I think like 11 or 12 or something. And please excuse me, I'm retarded and I'm trying to use a new recording software. It's not important. It's not worth explaining, so I'm not even going to explain it. But yeah, we are doing some new recording software. Not important. Dale Comstock, everybody knows who he is. He's the American Badass. Buy his fucking book. If you don't buy it, you're a terrorist. And that's enforceable by law. And unfortunately for you, Dale is the law. So buy Dale's book or you are a terrorist. That is, I normally say that's not a threat. This is a threat. Buy the book. And, but we're jumping back in and, well, the last time Dale and I we haven't done an American Badass episode, and we were both surprised. 4 weeks, but the last one is a story that almost made me puke, and to my dismay, I believe that's another story we're doing today. So apparently Dale just wants to see me vomit like a model. So fuck it, Dale Comstock, take it away, sir. Dr. Dale
Yeah.
Comstock, excuse me.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Everybody out there's listening. So we've been doing these almost every weekend except for the last few, going over some chapters of the book American Badass, and of course touching on some other topics. So if if you feel so inclined, go back to the first one we did, and you can kind of follow along about the chapters in the book. So what I'm going to do is actually tell you the story in my own words rather than reading the story to you. All right, so yeah, we've been busy, as Tommy said. I've had a lot of things going on, and been very busy on the weekends. But finally, kind of things slowed down today, and here we are. So what I want to talk about is one chapter called "Donkey Turds and Warthogs." So this, the scene is in Afghanistan, and the mission was simply this: we know that one particular small forward operating base, small encampment with a Special Forces A team, about 12 Americans, was in, really, it was like Fort Apache, man. The location they were in was down near Skin on the border of Pakistan, the mountains. And if you can just imagine a small little outpost with, some sandbags, for the perimeter, and, about a platoon of Afghans as their little security army. That was it. And these guys were getting attacked on a regular basis. Like literally every day they're getting rocketed because they were just sitting there, and they became target practice for the bad guys. So the mission was to infiltrate or to insert at night by helicopter, offset away from the target, a distance away, dismount. And then I had 60 Afghans with me, and I had another American with me. And the mission was to lead these guys and come in through a circuitous route, and then finally end up what we call an ORP, objective rallying point, and basically hunker down there, and then from there run operations, basically counteroffensives against the Taliban that was setting up, rocket positions and things like that. Right, they were constantly attacking this camp. So what we figured was they wouldn't expect us to show up, right? Especially in the middle of the night. And, they never got any resistance outside the camp. And so all of a sudden, they're going to get shot in the ass while they're launching rockets. That was the goal. So my guys, my Afghans they were more of an urban force, right? They were used to doing CQB, kicking in doors in Kabul, raiding compounds and stuff like that. They weren't field soldiers. In other words, they weren't trained, nor did they really ever really spend any time out in the field doing operations in the mountains and the desert. So this was their first, and so I assumed badly that these guys knew what they were doing, right? So we fly out in the field, 2 helicopters or 3 helicopters, can't remember what it was now, Mi-17s. We land, on the border of Pakistan, very mountainous, beautiful country, man. Oh my God, it's just awesome. And we land, and we're a couple of terrain features away from the Special Forces camp, right? We don't want the enemy to know that we inserted that night. All they would know is we heard Mi-17 helicopters flying, maybe landing, and then he kept on flying, right? Maybe. So we land, we get off, and we start walking. And I'm leading the point, and it was pretty rough movement because of the terrain, the way it was set up. And we walked as far as we could. And before it got light, we decided to go ahead and actually probably about 4 hours before it got light, I realized the movement was getting a little difficult, especially under no light conditions. And the guys were getting a little tired. So I just said, okay, we're going to hunker down this one location and get some rest. So we do that. And in the morning, the sun comes up and I decide, okay, we need to get up and start moving out again. Right. So as I'm getting up, clearing out the sand man out of my eyes, I'm looking around, I'm noticing that there's guys taking their water and they're bathing themselves out in the field with it. They're washing with it. I'm like, what in the hell? Right. Because only water we have is what we brought with us. Right. There's no water out there. This is like desert mountain stuff. Right. And I'm like, whoa. I call the commander over, go, hey man, what are your guys doing? They're wasting water. They're going to need that. But we're not getting a resupply. We're going to be out here for 3 days. So what's on their back is what they're drinking. And they've only been out here a few hours. It's no time for a shower. In fact, there's never any time for a shower in the field. It doesn't, you don't need it, right? It's not like you're going to impress anybody. So I had to light his ass up, right, and get him to get out there and troop the lines and get their shit together, And they didn't grasp it. I said, listen, you got 10 minutes. I want everybody packed up, rooked up, and ready to move. In 10 minutes, we're going. That's the direction towards the mountains, right? We're going to go down, and then we're going to go up. And so he's out there, getting everybody rounded up and stuff and getting ready to go. And I look, and I noticed all these guys were wearing heavy polypropylene underwear under their fatigues. Like, it's not cold out there, by the way. And, they were like maybe cold that night. And I'm like, hey, man, I said, you know what? We're going to walk 50 yards and you guys are going to be sweating your balls off, man, with that polypropylene. It's thick polypropylene, too. Mm-hmm. I said, you don't need it. As soon as you start walking, you're going to start overheating. And they just didn't register, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess we're just going to have to do this. You're going to have to learn your lessons, right? So we go down the hill, and I swear to God, man, it wasn't halfway down the hill, everybody's just sweating their balls off, right? When I was I said, just keep walking. We ain't stopping. I warned you, right? And so we start walking. We get down to the low ground, and we're moving along this dry riverbed. And I come across an area that's a puddle of water, maybe 15 feet wide by, maybe 20 feet long, maybe a couple of inches, deep. That's it. Nasty, dirty water, right? And all around it was, donkey turds and sheep turds, right? Because they knew where the water was too. And they all came there from the desert to get a drink. And they're crapping and pooping in the water and drinking all around it, right?
My stomach's already starting to turn. God damn it, Dale.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not stopping. We're just going to walk past it. I'm thinking, I'm on the point. I'm leading the way. And I walk a little while. I realize it's getting kind of quiet behind me. And I turn out and look. And they had all stopped at this puddle. And these guys were literally on their hands and knees like dogs drinking the water. And I'm yelling, stop, right? I couldn't believe they're doing this. And I looked at the commander again and go, what are you guys doing? Look, this is horse shit. This is sheep shit. It's in the water and you guys are drinking it. I said, how do you think that's going to work out? And you could just tell her, like, what do you mean? So what's wrong with that? Yeah. Like, holy cow. And again, I said, all right, I guess we have to learn your lesson. So now the guys are stripping off the polypropylene. All right. They finally figured out, okay, it is kind of hot. And I said, we'll see how this works out here shortly. Now that you guys drank all this water, they're filling up their canteens because why? It was empty because they were using it for a shower. And there was no going back. There's no getting out of this, right? Nobody's coming to get us. It's broad daylight. We're in Indian country, and we've got to make it up this one mountain. And there's like a saddle between two hilltops. Basically, we're going to occupy that, and it was going to give us kind of a good view of the target area, the area of operations. And man, it was really picturesque. That's all I can say. It was really beautiful up there. And what was really cool is we were coming across like old stone type shooting positions that I don't know if the Russians put them there or the Mujahideen or if there's something really ancient, but we were coming across some really cool stuff out there. And so I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to walk, and good luck with all that water you just drank. Let's see how that works out. And we go up the mountain, and all of a sudden we weren't into this thing 30 minutes, right? And it's a pretty good climb up the side of this mountain. And I got guys throwing up back there, freaking, heaving and shitting. They're I finally make it up to the saddle, and I got 5 dudes that are down now. They're freaking casualties from this water. I mean, they're diarrhea, they're projectile vomiting, they're out, man. And I'm like, okay, now I got 5 dudes I can't do anything with. I can't get them out of here. If I gotta carry 5 guys, that means I'm gonna commit 20 guys just to carry 5 guys out. And by the way, that won't even be enough because those 20 guys will last about 20 minutes, and I'm gonna have to switch them out again, right? So we are combat ineffective. And by the way, we're out of water because they showered with it and they're pissing and shitting the rest of it out. I said, we're not even going to make it to the objective now. We got no water, and or they don't have any water. And so me and my counterpart, the other American, we're like, okay, we're digging through our med bags. We're looking for Lomotil, anything to kind of help, calm their stomachs down and get them back operational as best as we can. It took us a while. We finally did. I just had them. I said, everybody just kind of lay out, rest, relax, don't waste your water. These guys take the meds. I said, let's just kind of give them some time to kind of pull this shit together. And finally they did. And we moved on and we got to our objective. And then from there on, we started, running our operations. So something else that happened on this particular target was we got out of the field after 3 days. We ran some ops, and then but it was really nothing really came out of it. So we left, and we decided we would come back again in the middle of the night, fly on a helicopter, land on another hilltop, and on the hilltop we could see a special forces camp about 1 kilometer away from us. And so we landed the helicopter. We got out in mass. We walked over to this compound that was just broken apart. Right now, the walls were crumbling down. There was really nothing there, but we used the walls for concealment. So I got the whole unit in there. There's about 60 guys. I had them set up their machine guns, mortar tubes, and then we had about 2 or 3 hours before sunup came. I told everybody, I said, okay, I want everybody to rest except for the guys pulling security. So I went to sleep too. Sun came up, and actually what happened was one of the interpreters came and woke me up, and he's like, Mr. Dale. And I'm like, yeah, what do you want? He goes, hey, one of the men would like to go down the hill because we're on a hilltop, and there's like this runoff water, again, dirty, nasty shit right on the side of the road, and would like to go down and bathe, wash up. I go, for what? And he's getting all red in the face, and I don't know if I told this story already, but
you've told this to me privately.
Okay. All right. So what happened was, all right. so I'm looking at this guy. I go, wait a minute. I said, we just got here 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, and this guy wants. What is this? What do you mean he wants to go wash, right? And and then I could see he's getting a little nervous, right? He goes, well, he says, actually, it's about 5 guys. And I, what do you mean 5 guys? He goes, and then he proceeds to explain. He goes, well, the Quran says if you have a wet dream, right, a nocturnal emission, you're supposed to cleanse and bathe your entire body. And I go, that guy basically had a wet dream, and now he wants to go wash up because the Quran says he has to do that. He goes, well, and I go, what's the deal with these other guys? He goes, well, they also had wet dreams and they want to go wash the body. I go, what guys are you talking about? There's 5 guys all together in one corner. He goes, all those 5 guys. I said, wait a minute, you should tell me those 5 guys all woke up this morning, and one guy goes, oh shit, I had a wet dream, I need to go bathe. And then the other 4 guys go, yeah, me too. I said, that's bullshit, right? and he's looking at me, he's kind of like getting all red. I go, you tell those little butt pirates over there, this is a combat operation. Okay, what? This is not an orgy, man. We're not out here for sex. And I said, I don't even want to know the details of this shit. I said, I'm just disgusted right now that this is even happening. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Now I got to do this, because if I don't, you guys are gonna get mad at me because I'm disrespecting Allah and the Quran and all this crap, And I said, yeah, I'm going to send you down the hill in broad daylight. You might compromise all of us and get us killed because you guys were wanting to have a little fucking fun last night. And So he's just like getting really uncomfortable, and I'm like getting really goddamn mad, right? And
And
so I said, all right.
for every politically correct person on here who's screaming, thinking Dale and I are making a stab at them because they're gay, has nothing to fucking do with that. It's the fact that you're downrange on a. I imagine this is you weren't with Delta. This was the plausible deniability. You
Yeah.
yeah. It has so for everyone that's pulling their hair out right now, it has nothing. If it was a bunch of women fucking scissoring each other or some shit, Dale would be. I don't know. Dale might be saying, "Include me next time."
Yeah.
The reality is no. It's just like you don't give a shit if someone showers. I shower. I shower every day. Dale doesn't give me shit because I'm not downrange with Dale. It's
Yeah.
different. So for everyone that, because I remember you telling me that story privately the first time, probably about a year ago. I remember you telling me, you're like, dude, I don't give a shit. You're like, I don't give a shit if they're gay. We're downrange. You're gonna get us all
Yeah.
killed. So sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. No, that's you're right on that point. I'm not gay or homophobic or anything. I have a child that's gay. All right,
No
so
one gives a shit.
I don't even care about all that shit.
Yeah.
All I care about was these guys are over here now, poking each other in the butt, and now I've got to send them downhill with another patrol to pull security while they're down there, playing in the splashing in the water. And none of that had to happen, right? So now they potentially are going to compromise our position in the operation. Two, I've got to dedicate another force to go down there and secure these guys. And it's not in alignment with the plan, all right, of war fighting, so to speak. So they go down there and they do their business. They come back, and I tell the interpreter, I said, listen, you make it really clear to everybody out here, all right? Anybody pulls that stunt again, all right, I'm going to take all your money. You're going to lose your paycheck. All right, you're not going to get paid this month. I'm taking it. I'm going to fine you. All right, because you're jeopardizing the operation, you're jeopardizing the mission, you're jeopardizing lives is what you're doing. And if you guys should have already learned your lesson before about wearing polypropylene and freaking drinking, donkey turds. I think I know what I'm talking about. And so we had to go through all that, and then got that sorted out, and then we were getting intel that base was going to come under attack probably at night. And so normally what happens is they get hit usually from three sides, two rocket, what we call POO sites, right? Point of origin for rockets, two rocket launch sites. And then you may have a ground assault coming up from another hill. And then you usually have an observer on the other corner, basically calling all the shots. And so we were kind of expecting that. And we had actually two Hummers that we managed to procure from the ODA. And one of the Hummers, mine, the IR lights didn't work, just the white lights. And I so I'm trying to drive. I'm gonna drive the vehicle, one of the vehicles at night with all my guys in the back. And what we were gonna do is move to what we anticipated to be the launch points where the bad guys were gonna show up to launch rockets. What we want to do is already be waiting for them when they show up and take them out. So it starts getting dark. We load everybody up. I'm trying to drive my Humvee. I got the lead Humvee. I can't drive it with just the nods on because it's got thick polycarbonate glass, bulletproof glass in the front. With the NVGs, it just made it harder to see, especially without the IR lights and no illumination above us. And so I also did a navigation, and my GPS wasn't picking up a signal from inside the Hummer, right? And so I basically had to drive with the GPS in my other hand outside the window so I can keep a signal so I can follow the right route, because there's a lot of trails and roads out there, and it got very confusing. So I'm following my GPS, driving one hand, following GPS, trying to see where the hell I'm going. And then we ended up going up this one mountain for a little ways, and it got really tight and narrow to the point where looks like we're coming into a choke point or a dead end. We're not gonna be able to keep creeping up this freaking hill. And that's when the ambush started, unbeknownst to us. Freaking at this point, rockets had already been coming in to the camp. We knew there was another ground element coming up on another side doing a ground assault, and we knew there was a spotter actually very near us on top of a hilltop. And so right when we hit this one point, all of a sudden an RPG comes skipping across my hood and blows up. So shit, now we're in a contact, and we're stuck. I can't move forward. I can't move backwards. I can't move sideways. We're just stuck, two vehicles. And I remember grabbing, turning the vehicle off, and my co-driver was a medic, actually a PA, American, really good guy. And he bails out on his side, and it's an armored door. And as he gets out, what happened was somehow I didn't put it in the park. It was still in neutral or drive. When I kill the lights, I let off the brake. The vehicle lurched back a couple of inches and actually pinned his ankle between a boulder and the bottom of his armored doors. So it messed him up pretty good, right? I didn't know that. I managed to get on the brakes, control it again, lock it down, grab an M79 grenade launcher. And I could hear the guy behind me yelling at the Afghans in the back of the vehicle, shoot, goddammit, shoot, right? Because they were like sitting like deer in headlights going, where are those coming from? And finally, they all opened up, right, and shooting in all directions. I get out, and I have a pretty good idea where I think the round came from. And I think it came from the spotter up on top of the hill about maybe, 200 yards up. And so I got out the M79 grenade launcher, can't see shit, and put a 40 millimeter HE round in it, and just kind of said, yeah, he's right about there, I think. And just using sensing techniques, no sights or anything like that. I kind of raised the weapon up, poof, sent it up, boosh, down it comes, and freaking dead hit, right? Freaking, it was all over. And everybody's, holy shit, And it reminded me of the movie Apocalypse Now. There's a scene in there running the river, and there's a unit on the side of the riverbank, and there's a Viet Cong guy on the other side yelling at him, right? And then there's a guy named Roach, and they tell Roach has the M79. Hey, Roach, man, you take that guy out. And Roach is all high, right? He's all just doped up and gooned out. He's like, yeah. And he gets his gun, his M79 loaded. He turns around and he does the same thing. He just kind of aims it up, kind of gauges it, poof, then takes the guy out, right? So it was like it's the same, same scenario. Just like that, the fight was over. Well, anyways, the firefight all total lasted about 7 hours, and about I'd say about an hour into it, we had already called for close air support, right? And we had some A-10s inbound, and we were very close to the Pakistani border. We were probably about 1 kilometer away, and we know that this assault came from that side as well, right? We know that they're in collusion. So we got the A-10 circling above, and we tell them, listen, this is what we need. We need rounds right here. Suppress this area. We got guys, bad guys here, bad guys there, and the pod's flying around. He goes, he goes, we can't engage if we're less than 0.5 kilometer near the border. And I'm like, well, we're not there yet, right? We're about a kilometer away. Who gives a fuck, right? We're Americans, and then he's identifying bad guys, but he can't identify the weapons. And he says he's got to positively identify the weapons. I go, dude, you're at 10,000 feet. All right. I know they have weapons because they're shooting at us. All right. I'm telling you where they are. And I'm pulling the trigger. You're just a weapon. And you let them go. All right. He needs all these special, approvals and shit like this. So he's flying around for like 3 hours before he ever dropped the first damn bomb. And he's starting to run out of gas.
So this is so it's like the DMV. This is some bureaucratic. Really?
Yeah, it was actually, he ran out of gas. It was actually 2 of them, and they left the station and they were flying back to, I think, Bagram Airfield to refuel. And we're wondering, why has nothing happened? And then we realized they checked out and didn't even tell us they're leaving. They just left, and finally they came back. And when they started actually dropping bombs is when the whole thing stopped. So 7 hours, total of 7 hours, it was all over. And we worked our way back to the Special Forces FOB, went in, and that's when I realized Doc had fucked his ankle up really bad, and then I realized, oh yeah, it's because we backed up, he got a pin in the rock. And so that was the index for the night. But pretty frustrating because it took 3 hours for them to even consider dropping a bomb. They need all these approvals. And I'm like, are we back in like Vietnam now or something? What's going on here? I'm the guy on the ground calling the shots, but you're afraid to drop the bomb, and just I'll take the responsibility for it. You're just a weapon. I'm the guy pulling the trigger. I'm sighting it in. I take full responsibility. But it took 7 hours, man, for this the madness to end that night. But pretty interesting experience, to say the least. There was a lot of other things that happened in the middle of all that, but can't make some.
I was going to say, today's this right? Today's 77th anniversary of D-Day, and
Yeah,
I was just thinking, like, can you imagine as like the first waves of soldiers are getting there, and they're just begging for the battleships to fire on like the pillboxes? Do
yeah,
we have positive ID? Do we know that the Germans have weapons? You'd be like, blow it to fucking pieces. And it's like,
yeah,
we got to run this up the chain of command. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
yeah. Moving on. So the next one I'm going to cover is called The Final Ambush, My Epiphany, right? So um, this is later on in the book, but basically what happened here was this. So I was on the northernmost fob that we had up in Afghanistan on the Pakistani border, and it was very scenic. It was like Lord of the Rings time, picturesque mountains, beautiful place, man. Poppy fields everywhere, green rivers, water, just beautiful place, man. And we were up in this cold, and we were at 9,000 feet. And so, what our guys, when they went on vacation, because they were working for Americans, they were being targeted, right? So we allowed them to go home with their AK-47s as a personal protection weapon. And but we knew we couldn't release them from the base because they'd get dunced right outside the gate anywhere, because where we were at located, very isolated. So what we have to do is put together a convoy, and we'd have to drive south about 6 hours and take them to another base that was safer, and then deposit them there. They go on vacation for a couple of weeks, and then a couple of weeks we come back and pick them up, and we bring them back home. So one group was on vacation, the other one was moving down, and then the group was coming off vacation would swap out. They get in the vehicles and come back with us, right? So it was an exchange like that all the time. Well, this one particular night, we were going to drive 3 hours, and the other group south of us at the other camp was going to drive north 3 hours, and we're going to meet somewhere in the middle and do the exchange. We're going to take the guys out they're going to leave from their trucks, and their guys coming off leave, we're getting our trucks, and then we would go back to our camps. And so we're lined up getting ready to pull out and starting to leave the gate, and then we get a call from the group down south that said, look, we're delayed, we got they had commo issues, right? Couldn't get the communications to work properly, and they didn't want to leave until that was sorted out. I said, roger that. So we leave thinking they'll get it fixed here shortly, and actually they did. It took them a long time to sort it out, a couple hours. So we arrived at the halfway point, and we're now having to wait for them to work their way up to us. Well, that halfway point put us on a stretch of dirt road that was about 7 kilometers long. And if you can imagine, we were north, we were traveling south. So to our west was a mountain ridge line. And then to our east, right next to us, we're paralleling a river with more mountains on the other side. So you can either go north or south, but you can't go left or right. It's just one way, one road. And it's a really bumpy dirt road, very slow movement. And this particular 7 kilometer stretch was owned by the Taliban. And it was literally, the road was just lined with burnt out hulks of vehicles, gas trucks, tankers, logistics trucks, tactical vehicles, just all up and down this road where they were getting ambushed all the time. And we're now sitting in it, waiting for this other vehicle. So we stopped all the trucks. We had 23. We sent 7 vehicles forward. I forget, probably another 2 or 3 kilometers forward to go meet this other crew down there. So we didn't have to move the entire convoy down there, because it would have been a mess trying to turn it around because of the terrain. So they went forward, and we were sitting there, and our interpreters were on the ICOM radios, which is the same radios Taliban use. They're just handheld, like walkie-talkies. And we're listening to the Taliban setting up on us. They saw us. They were putting ambushes behind us, in front of us. They were putting IEDs in, and they were already discussing their battle plan. And we're listening to all this. Go, shit, now we're boxed in. The other elements down below us, they've actually recovered the other group and deposited the other guys. And on their way back, the ambush got initiated, and they got hit in the ambush coming back right off the bat. Well, just before that happened, we realized, okay, we need some kind of close air support. We have no other support. And we managed to find an AH-6 attack helicopter on station. And he did have ammunition, and he basically was supporting that element in contact. And then he, called bingo. He ran out of fuel and all his ammo, and he had to fly south to the originating base. to refuel, rearm, right? So he flies south. The other element comes back. They're all shot to shit, right? They've got a couple of guys have been shot. Trucks are all shot up. And so we're providing, first aid, getting them straightened out. Then we turn all the vehicles around and face them north. We had the choice. We can go run south or run north. Either way, we're going to run an ambush. So we figured we'll just run north back home. So we didn't want to make that move until the attack helicopter was back on station. What we were going to do is use the helicopter to fly out in front of us and strafe the entire road for us to start a movement. And the reason he was going to strafe the road, because normally Taliban, they did far ambushes, right? Yeah. So they would actually stand off from a distance and engage you. But this time they started changing their TTPs, right? Their tactics, techniques, and procedures. What they did was, because we're listening to the commander order this, he's telling his guys to get right up next to the road and then get between the vehicles on the road and create a crossfire situation. And plus, by being so close to the road, the helicopter can't engage them. They knew the helicopter was coming back. It was crazy. He already expected that, right? So they were getting smarter is what they were doing. They even went so far as to discuss which vehicles they wanted to take out, which was actually the last two in the convoy of 23. They want to take them out and recover the weapons, the ammunition, and everything's in it, right?
Do you ever suspect moles?
Oh, yeah, we had those. But not sure they were communicating with them. But we just think actually that Taliban commander was actually pretty switched on. He had enough experience to know that, okay, these forward ambushes are not as effective as getting right in the middle. And this is what we got to do, right? So
sorry to interrupt. Someone like yourself, do you ever see that and do you at least respect game? Maybe like rivals, it's like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, rivals on the court, but they respected each. Do you ever look at that and you're like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, but at the same time, do you kind of, I see it, I respect it.
Yeah, no, actually I did. I was like, okay, these guys are evolving, man. They're constantly evolving, which means we have to keep evolving, right? And it becomes like a chess game.
Sure.
They figure it out, and then they break the code, and then we got to come up with another strategy. And that's basically what it was. But I was actually pretty impressed with his commanding there and what he was telling his guys to do, and as well as his intuition. He was he suspected the helicopter would come back, we would move, and then we would follow the helicopter. And he called it on the radio. I was like, damn. And so so we had all the vehicles lined up. We had 23 vehicles. They were spaced roughly 50 meters apart. So think about that for a minute. 23 vehicles, 50 meters apart. That's almost 1,300 meters, 1 kilometer, 300 meters spread, this element, on a 7 kilometer road where the maximum speed was maybe 5 miles an hour. Maybe it was just that bumpy and rough.
Yeah.
And so it was a slow drive through 7 kilometer ambush is what it was going to be, with IEDs placed in the apex of a couple of turns. We knew where those turns were, and we knew that's most likely where the IEDs will be, because they know we'll have to slow to negotiate that turn. And if you think about on the turn, a 90-degree turn, you might have one vehicle here and one 50 meters behind, and now you got 2 vehicles essentially in the apex that could be hit right at the same time. So, but we had no choice. There's no way we're going to get around this. And so the plan was simply this: when the attack helicopter would come in, he would run the road and strafe it, and then the vehicles would take off one by one, like March of the Penguins, right? One would dive in, then the next one would dive in, the next one that would dive in at a whopping 5-mile-an-hour pace. And every gun on every truck would run. Basically, and with the instructions were shoot everything and anything that could hide a bad guy behind it. Whether it's a tree, whether it's a rock. Hey, I hear some weird noise, by the way. I'm getting a lot of noise. Okay, now it's gone. Whatever you did.
I literally just moved a little headphone case.
Yeah, it's funny, weird. It just started. I couldn't even hear anything anymore. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's weird. I thought you were giving me a weird look. I was like, why still? That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that was pretty loud too.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the plan was all the guns would run, and then we would basically, try to push through this ambush. So we're sitting there. I was in, I think my truck was number 15. I had one of the command trucks. I had all the antennas and shit on it, right? And So as I'm sitting there waiting, I'm waiting for the little bird to come in, not the little bird, but the H come in. And while I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, man, I've got to be, this is nuts. I said, this is the first time I've ever had, I deliberately drove into an ambush just to get out of the ambush. Right. And then it occurred to me that I'm really starting to, push my luck, man. I'm 47 years old now. And I said, it's a matter of time. And, I'm going to get hurt, if not killed. And so I made a conscious decision at that point that if I survived this ambush, this will be my last one. I was ready to hang up the guns and go home and do something different. So as I sat there, the little bird came in, a little bird, the H came in, started strafing the road. Then the first vehicle took off. All guns are blazing, right? It's here we go, man. It's like 4th of July. Shit's flying everywhere, right? And whopping 5 miles an hour. Then the second one takes off. And I'm sitting there watching this through my nods, my NVGs, because I'm kind of backing up on the higher ground. And as I'm sitting there, I'm driving. I got a couple of interpreters in my vehicle, Afghans. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to remember my kids one more time. I see all their faces one by one. I'm imagining the faces one by one. And what I'm trying to do is just remember real quick and then get it out so I can just focus on what I need to focus on, right? And I figured this might be the last time I can ever think about my kids. And that's when I had this epiphany. I'm like, if I get through this, it's over. I'm not doing no more, right? It's crazy. So now I got the thoughts of my kids come and gone, past, and now I'm focusing on what I got to do. I told my interpreter, I go, man, anything runs up to this truck, anything, it's not American or an Afghan or one of our Afghans, shoot it in the face, man, get it over with, and so finally it's my turn to move. I put it in gear and I take off at a whopping 5 miles an hour. And the road was so bad that I broke the front right strut on my truck. And basically the tire was rubbing the wheel well on the inside. And it got so hot, it caught on fire, right, at 5 miles an hour. So I got a wheel that's burning. Basically, it's advertising to the bad guys, shoot here, shoot here, right? Shoot at this light.
There's some poetic symbolism in that.
So I'm rolling along, right? Tires burning stuff.
No, it's that you telling yourself, you're like, this is my last one. I'm playing Russian roulette with this career. I mean, it truly is like you're going to the wheels fall off.
Yeah, right.
Wheels are on fire. You're like, fuck it, let's go.
Well, we did. We went off and went rolling, slowly, man, down the road. Everybody's shooting. It's just it's just amazing, man. See every gun shooting at every direction, at anything that could hide a bad guy. And that was real suppressive fire. 23 vehicles doing that, and along this long, 1,400 meter snake, working its way around the side of these mountains. And we had guys running out, literally coming out right off the side of the road, at close range. We're freaking, we're dunching them. And then we finally make it out. And we get to the other end, we stop. And I think we had 7 vehicles were damaged. We had some guys actually get shot in the Kevlar. Of all things, just shot in the Kevlar, nowhere else. We had a couple other casualties from earlier on. But we pretty much got through that unscathed. I mean, damaged vehicles, but no big deal. They were still functional. And we went ahead and took off and went back to the base that morning. And it was then when I arrived, I realized, okay, that's it for me, man. Not right there, but this will be my last deployment out of here. And it'll be the last of this kind of life, if you will. So that was my epiphany for, and it was based on this final ambush and me having a moment that really kind of a moment of clarity where I can think about my kids, my life, where am I at? I'm 47. How long do I want to keep doing this? And I had some other business opportunities that were waiting for me if I chose to do that. And I decided it's not a bad idea to go ahead and move on. Yesterday I did another podcast for a guy. And he asked me a question. He's a neurobiologist. And he asked me a question about, once, you're done with stuff like that, how do you define the rest of your life after that? I mean, you don't really have the same adrenaline rush anymore. Is it, like, what's it like, And I go, actually, the truth is, once you live this kind of a life, for most people that did it deliberately and actually wanted to do this kind of work, be a soldier and be a warrior and volunteer to do it, and look forward to it. It's almost like an addiction. When time, right? You keep getting these adrenaline dumps, right? And these dopamine and these different hormone releases in your body. It becomes addictive, and you can't never really get rid of it, right? Even today, I'm 58, and the last time I saw combat was about 5 years ago, and if I had the opportunity to do it again right now, I'd probably go do it. It's like crack.
I
It's
I remember when you and I were shooting at our mutual friend's house. I remember you were sitting there and you were talking about, you were just kind of like citing something, and you just looked so calm. Whereas I'm just like a little like, I'm like, oh, like everything's exploding. The mod deuce, the pit, and I just remember looked at you, and it just almost like wasn't registering to you. It was like a roller coaster you'd been on so many times, and you were talking about it. And I remember you started telling a story about you guys were at this hangar or something, and what you're doing with some guns, and your face was lighting up. And I remember I like looked at you and I go, Dale, how do you ever put this shit down? Like, how do you?
you don't.
Remember you looked at me and you go, I'd do it tomorrow. And I was
It's
like,
true.
yeah, yeah.
It's really true because I spent, man, for 9.5 years, I was gone about 9 months out of every year downrange. And I was happily married, had a good marriage, had a good family, had a good life, doing really well. And my daughter was young. And I got to the point where I would come home and I just wanted to go back.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to get away from my wife and my daughter. It's just all of a sudden, it's like I got this, it's like this magnet trying to pull me back, and I want to go back to it, and it didn't make sense to me either. It's like, why would I want to leave my wife and my daughter, to go back and risk it all, but it's hard to explain. It's actually hard to explain to people that have never been there. That's why a lot of veterans just don't like to talk about, their experience, because the average person just can't grasp it. But once you've been there and you keep drinking from that well, you just keep coming back from that to that well, for another drink. And one day, you're probably going to drink out of the well and an alligator is going to take your head off, and but you're ready for that, and you think that you're invincible. Like, it happens to everybody else, won't happen to me. I was lucky. A lot of my friends, not so much, and but actually I remember I just couldn't wait to get back. And that was the kiss of death for my marriage. It caused a lot of problems. And I look back on now and so I enjoyed what I was doing, but on a personal level, on a financial level, man, I lost a lot, because of that. And so one would think that, well, did you learn your lesson? And it's not really a lesson learned, because what I was doing was not wrong. It was right. And it was right for a lot of reasons. It's just that the consequences of what I was doing, was huge. And so you would think that I would, that's enough is enough. At least I thought enough was enough. And then, 2015, I get another phone call for, to go and do some special mercenary work, like real mercenary work, not, black water, nothing like that. And so it was very risky, probably the most dangerous shit I've ever done in my life. I've done dangerous stuff, but this was like really crazy. But that's the reason I got selected, is because they knew that I could handle this kind of stuff too. And so there I go again, 2015, downrange, probably one of the most dangerous countries in the world at the time. Probably still is, Yemen. And I went and did that, and then came back, got my fix, and you think you get over it, but you don't get over it. It's like, my wife was really upset because she didn't know what I went and did. I'd lied to her. I said, yeah, I'm just going to go do some training, train some people. It's all good. It's safe. Nothing's going to happen. And then she found out about a year later what I really did. And because she saw the video on the internet, I didn't put it on there. And she was like, what in the hell? And then I told her, and so she was pretty upset about that. Rightfully so. But be honest with you, if I got the opportunity to do something like that again, I probably would. And just it's in the DNA, man. That's all I can say. It's in the DNA.
Some quick comments on it. Well, obviously, I've never been in combat, and I'm not even going to pretend to know what it's like. But in terms of like the personal journey, so like last weekend was my best friend, and he's been my friend since like 9/11 when we were like 10. It was his birthday, best friend's birthday. Him, his brother, some other guys, we went out and got this like super nice lake house up in like the mountains. It's like $2 million lake house for like a weekend. It was awesome. Drinking, boozing, smoking, hot tub. We all had our own bedrooms with these huge steam showers. I mean, like, just big dick energy, just like balling out. And it was really fun. And it was like 72 hours. We're spending money. We're having fun. We're watching whatever. We're drinking at 10 in the morning. And it's great. And I loved it all. But man, like you said, it's not that you're trying to get away from your daughter or wife. I love these guys. And that was fun. But man, despite having like a nice cup of whiskey and a hot tub, like doing whatever I want, the back of my mind, I was like, I can't fucking wait to get back to my apartment. I was like, I've got Dale on Sunday, on Monday, George Webb on Tuesday, Thursday I'm having on the Apollo astronaut again. I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna go to the gym, sweat my balls off. I'm gonna take a freezing cold shower. I'm gonna meditate. And you would think that the other is objectively more fun, drinking champagne at sunrise. Fuck no. It's not that that's not fun. There is nothing I love more than just grinding on this. And it's in no way the same as yours, but I do get that sort of, you're just pulled towards it. This is never going to kill me, but I do understand that it pulls you towards it. And the second comment on that is episode 216 when I had on Mr. Charlie Duke, the 10th man to walk on the moon. I mean, that is the apex of the Air Force. They all start out, and everyone in the Air Force, the goal is always to become an experimental pilot, where you try out shit that hasn't been cleared yet, because that's the bleeding edge. Well, the bleeding edge of the bleeding edge is you try to become an astronaut. It's the ultimate Air Force. You go above the sky.
Right.
And the absolute, the OGA of the Air Force is you go to the fucking moon. So he's one of the guys that walked on the moon. He's one of 4 living men who have walked on the moon. And I remember asking him, I was like, well, what do you do after you walk on the moon? Like, what else is there? And he told me, he was like, it destroyed me. He was like, I started drinking. He was like, I was a bad father. And he kind of refound his purpose in life. But yeah, for like 10 years, he was like, there was nothing. Like, what else do you do? What else can excite you when you've walked on the fucking moon?
That's right.
It's, he found faith, and now he's in his 90s now. Now he gives lectures all around the world, and said he became a much better father. But for a while, and he said a lot of the guys suffered from that, because you come back from the moon, you go and shake the president's hand, and then what? Like, and
That's
then
right.
what? Fucking, I'm gonna go hunting. I'm gonna go jump out of a plane. I've walked on the moon, right? It's so I get that, and I know you and I have talked about this book before. It's one of my favorites, Surprise Kill Vanish by Jacobson, which she's been on Joe Rogan. I'm sure everyone on this podcast has heard me talk about this author before. She's a great author. But her second most recent book, Surprise Kill Vanish, is about intelligence community paramilitary groups like OGA, and all about it. And she details the chronicles of a guy who he remembers Pearl Harbor. He fought in Korea. Billy Waugh, who was in MACV-SOG and went on to work in OGA, and he was in Iraq at like 72, like right after 9/11.
I know Billy Waugh.
Yeah. I remember you told me that. Yeah, and I wasn't gonna do you dirty and sell you out, but yeah, I remember you told me that. But in the book, he talks about something similar when he came back from Vietnam, and he went and worked in the post office. And this is a guy that, like you, OGA, the most lethal, downrange, no one's calling, Billy who, Dale who, there's no one coming to pick you up. You get rolled up, it's over. You might as well pop yourself. And she asked him, he's in his 90s now, but when she asked him, she goes, what was the single scariest moment of your life? And she said, without missing a beat, he goes, working in the post office. Because he goes, that was worse than death. He goes, what am I going to do? Rise through the ranks of the post office? And he goes, in my life was when I got a cryptic phone call one day in like the late 70s. And it was, this is with the Central Intelligence Agency. Like, we'd like to interview you for a job. And he comes here, and this is a shadow company for this, and we're going to deploy you here. And you can read all about it. He was undercover. He had this like double thing where it's like, we're going to send you downrange into like Iraq or something. And you're going to be photographing like weapon sites. And he was just like, that was like having life breathed into me again. Cause he was like, fuck yeah. Like, let's go. There's something to be said for that, man. I mean, Charlie Duke, the moon guy, he started working for a defense contractor last year. He's 90. there's, and I know I've been rambling on, but I mean, the point I'm trying to get is, we've seen again and again in history that, like, that's not an uncommon thing. Like you said, it's not for the conscripted soldier. My uncle Tim, rest in peace, died a couple years ago, but he was drafted into Vietnam. That's not someone who that was for. He was against his will drafted. You know, he had terrible PTSD his whole life. Like you said, individuals who set out on that course, they want to go be the tip of the spear. They want to be the baddest motherfuckers that ever walked the planet. I mean, why would you ever want to come back? And I imagine it's like what Patton said. He was like, I want to die. I want to be killed by the last bullet of the last battle of the last war. Because he was like, I don't want to come home from this. Like, how could you? When Tom Brady retires, I give him 12 months before he shoots himself in the head. How can you step down from that? How the fuck can you step down from? And I know, Dale, you've been patient because I've just been running my mouth for 10 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Right? I'm not a fucking veteran. I'm not a warrior, but I do. I mean, dude, I think one of the worst days of my life was the day I got into medical school because I didn't know what to do anymore. I was like, there's no more dragons to slay. And I think the second worst day will be the day when this podcast overtakes Joe Rogan. I won't know what to do anymore. I'll be like, fuck this shit. I'll hand it over to you, Dale, and I'll go find something new. I'm going to learn how to play piano. Like, yeah, I don't know. I've been rambling for 10 minutes. Point being is, like, I get it. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, the thing is, and it's not for everybody, but when you've reached the pinnacle of, what you would consider success, for me is what I did, moonwalking, whatever it is in your life. You're right. It's hard to come back from that. And that's why I think a lot of guys, a lot of veterans have a hard time coping in the civilian world, right? Because it's just so freaking, low drag, man. It's just what, I experienced it myself. It's like when coming from the military world and going into the corporate world, the pace is so different. The cultures are so different. Like I always wondered, how the hell does any corporation succeed at the level of effort they put in, which is very low? You have, if you need something done, it takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to act on it. Where in the military, if you were told, I need this report, it was done like right now, right? You got it done. You didn't wait. I'll give it to you in 2 weeks, Sarge. No, it's like, I'll give it to you in 2 minutes. Stand by, And when I got in the corporate world, I saw it. I was like, damn, it's just so slow. And the reason it's slow, all right, not knocking civilians so much, but the reality is civilians, civilian culture they're not taught for the most part the same kind of work integrity, ethics, the regimentation that you have in the military, they don't have it. It's just, it's just so much different. My roommate here in Florida, I won't mention where his job is, but he has a lot of young kids come out to work for work with him on this one job site, and he goes, man, the work ethic's just not there. One guy, he was telling me a couple of days ago, just got this job, which was a very high paying job, young guy, and it's like $200 a day, and you really don't have to do anything. It's on the beach. And his girlfriend was coming out and hanging all over him. They were kissing and carrying on and just hanging out with him all day. And the boss came out and go, hey, your girlfriend can't be out here. You certainly shouldn't be out here smooching and kissing on the job, and playing lovey-dovey. You got a job to do. And he goes, oh, my girlfriend can't come out here, then I quit. And he walked off. Like, what? Just like that, And so there's a lot of that going on. I was working with a guy that, again, a younger guy that, he was complaining, the work was too hard. He thought, well, can I come back tonight and just, pick it up when it's cool? It's like, no, we all work during the day. You work with us. You can't come out here on your own at night and work because it's cooler. You're going to suffer out here in the heat like the rest of us because this is the duty day. This is where the supervisors are at, So it's a softer generation, but, but when you've done something like, like the things I've done in life, you get such a high from it. It is like a drug, man. And I used to say that all the time about Delta. Every day I went to Delta, went to work as a Delta Force operator. It was the best experience of my life because I couldn't wait to go to work.
Yeah.
and I couldn't wait for the day's training. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to work out. We're going to shoot guns. We're going to rappel down buildings. We're going to jump out of airplanes. We're going to just do all kinds of cool commando stuff. And then I would come home at night, go, damn, that was a great day. It's a satisfying day. I can't wait to go back tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, how many people could say that about their job? How many people actually look forward to going to work? Like, I can't wait, and then
I wake up every day and I'm like, what fucking guest am I going to try to get? Yeah. I got a new camera in the mail. I got the lens today. I'm bumping up the video quality. I'm always bumping up the audio quality, and I'm better internet. And I'm trying to get a new guest. And can I edit this here? Can I place this there? If I get this guy, do I think through that guy I could maybe get this? And it's this stair step game. And if I get bigger, I could get more money. And yeah, sure, maybe you go to $1 million mansion and drink on the weekend. But motherfucker, I wake up and I'm like, if I get more money, I can get a better computer. And if I get a better computer, I could get higher resolution videos, and that could allow me to get more. And then it's over, and at the end of the day, I call my mom because I'm a good son, and that's what I do. And I call my mom every night, and I play a little video games, and I go to bed. And I just tomorrow, I can't fucking wait tomorrow. I got Dale. Oh shit, Dale's running late. I got to push the next guest back a little bit. We got to finish this. Yeah, there's no.
That's when you know your job is no longer a job. When you enjoy what you're doing, it's not a job anymore. It's a labor of love, right? Yeah. And for some people, the labor of love is going down and risking your life, For you, it's doing what you do. Unfortunately, most people don't get to experience that. Most people go to the grind every day and they're making somebody else rich. They're getting their 2 weeks paid vacation every year, they're getting their weekends off, and, it doesn't have to be that way. I tell people all the time, you create your own reality and you create your own life, and you get what you accept. You get what you tolerate, and if this is all you're going to accept and you're all going to tolerate, that's all you're going to get in life. Right. But if you decide, no, I'm not accepting this, I'm going to tolerate this, I want more, I want bigger, I want better, I see the future, then you can create that for yourself, as I have. It's not perfect, but I can tell you it's much better than most people's lives out there. I mean, come on, let's face it. I live in Bali, Indonesia, and Panama City Beach, Florida, and Manila. Right? Yeah. I got homes everywhere, and I travel. I get to do cool stuff. I don't have a lot of money or nothing like that, but I don't need a lot of money. I got just enough to get me to have a good life, and more people should have that experience, but it's what you accept, for yourself. That makes the difference. And most people are willing to accept, just getting mediocrity. A lot of people just look for security. If I work for an employer, I'm guaranteed a paycheck every 2 weeks. I pretty much guaranteed a job every day, unless the company goes under. But you don't have to do anything but show up and do your job and then go back home. I actually don't like that. I mean, that's not freedom for me. I want to be able to just work when I want to work, go home when I want to go home, do what I want to do. That's the life. And anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but
on that note, Dale Comstock offers performance coaching for anyone that does want to pursue that life.
Yes, I do.
Be in the description and stick it in the top comment, and take it from Dale. Here's a guy that does it. This is what he does, and it's, man, there is no greater reward than, there is no security in this. This whole fucking podcast could come crumbling down tomorrow. But man, if that's not part of the adrenaline, like I gotta be on my A game. I can't fuck up. I can't get canceled. Well, I'll never be canceled because I don't give a shit. But yeah, we're both rambling now. Dale.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this one up.
All right, brother.
We'll resume next week. And American Badass. Go buy the fucking book. It's fantastic. And Dale is, I believe, writing a couple more books about some of your more insane experiences, which I've been pestering you about for the last year. And I will continue to pester you until those books are out. So, keep writing, Dale. Hurry the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I got to watch one of my writing. I'll tell you offline what happened. But, but it's coming. They'll all come out eventually. And if I can just squeeze more hours into a day. I don't know if I can get more than 24 hours in a day, but I definitely need more than 24 hours. Cause I'm done. I mean, I sleep maybe 5 hours a night, 6 hours max. And, I'm constantly working, but it was easy. Anybody could do it. Right. So I'm not taking the easy route. I'm going to take the hard, painful route, but I'm going to reap the rewards at the end. So stand by, more to follow.
All right, we'll wrap this one up, and I'll text you when it's up.
All right, brother. Be
All
good,
right.
man.